Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Talk, our energy insight for March 10th to the 17th. Oh, I'm glad to be here today. Um, and I'm very grateful for everyone who has been in my life over the last few days. You know how you have been a support for me, and I'm sending you all love um, and appreciation for who you are and how you contribute to others. Thank you. My name is Jackie Ellis, and I'm from JackieEllis.com. I'm an energetics master, and I help people decode the energy within their life so that they can transform their life into a life that they love. Um, so, if you are new to this channel or new to seeing my energy insights, or well, not my energy insights, they're the energy insights I receive from downloads, from my guides, from God, from the universe, and they are truly insightful in not only helping me step into my power, but other people that have been following along and really allowing themselves to resonate with the different messages in different ways, and being open to how the loving energies that God wants to send us can shift and change their life into a life that they love. And this is really what the journey is about. So I'm going to, the way I do these energy insights is I go through where we are in the moon cycle, because what those insights that come through really deeply connect to the moon cycle. And also I'm going to share, then I get an overall message for the week, as well as 3 individual messages that deepen those, I guess, the steps that might help people in their journey. Or it may have 3 separate messages that layer and can impact someone's life in various ways. So if you resonate with any of this, please do like, share, or subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this, say hello. I'd love to connect with you in a deeper level. And if you think that someone is, or if you think the message that God's trying to prevail through me would help others, share the message in some way. The waxing quarter moon is from March 10th to 17th, and it very much can intimidate a lot of people. It is our lower chakras, and I will share my light mastery maps so that others, if you do not know what I'm talking about, you can download the light mastery map from my website. It's in the VIP portal. You just sign up for any of the free resources, and you will be given, there'll be an email sent asking you to register for the website so that you get your own login, your own personal login that you get to create. And then you get access to the VIP portal, which is free resources, and you can download the Light Mastery Map to help you along your journey. It's an excellent resource that was downloaded for me to share with you. And the waxing quarter moon is in the lower chakras. So what does that mean specifically? It means that this is truly the domain for the domain that we have primarily been living our life for most of our existence up until now. We've spent a lot of time in our lower chakras, a lot of time trying to master our lower chakras, and sometimes we do well and other times not so well. So it is the domain of our boundaries, um, the support that we feel we have, the resources that we know we can depend on or receive or use. It is the space that we are creating in order to achieve what we want to achieve, and really allow ourselves to create healthy boundaries for ourselves and healthy limits of what we're willing to accept for our life. And it's our own free will. It's how we express our own free will in some way. So when we are in the shadows, when we are in the powerlessness of the lower chakras, and I'm going to preface this in this, is if you are on this earth and already know that you are wanting to be of service to others, you want to help others in some way, you feel called to do that in some way, then this is the powerlessness that you may find yourself in. And there'll be signs on when you're in the shadows, when you're on the sidelines of life and you are needing to somehow step into your power so that you can create a life that you love in a healthy way that not only honors yourself but other people. So if we go back to the waxing quarter moon, so the powerlessness, the signs that you are in the shadows, feeling like you're a victim, or feeling like people are energetically taking from you, sucking the life out of you, or you may find that yourself being kind of a bully to other people, not wanting to be, but finding yourself in moments where you're like, I really don't like who I am in that right now, or I don't like who I was in that moment just now. You're in the shadows at that point. When you find yourself focusing on disaster or a problem, like you find yourself just intensely focused on those situations instead of what's possible for you in a new light, a new perspective, then you're in the shadows. It's very disempowering, or you find yourself trying to disempower other people. You may even try and may even find yourself, if I could talk, if I could talk for a moment, your own thought patterns when you're stuck and focused on a situation is very disempowering for yourself. And so when you find yourself in a worry loop or anxiety loop and getting yourself overwhelmed with life in general, or overwhelmed around a situation, you are essentially disempowering yourself from moving forward in some way. When there's uncertainty and you start to tense up, or feel like you need to be on the defensive, or feel like you need to create a backup plan in case something goes wrong, or be on the offensive to something that could happen, those reactions, those trauma reactions, are in the shadows. Fearing changing what you would typically do, or what you want to say or do based on a fear of rejection or abandonment, you're in the shadows. There's always a way to find a solution or words that honors not only yourself but also the other person. And they may not like what you have to say. They may expect you to jump in and do what you normally do, but it may not be the best thing for their journey. It's situations where you may find yourself saying, I'm overwhelmed, or look what they did to me, or look at what is happening to me again, or why me? It's feeling a loss of control. It's feeling like you never get what you want and you have to always do it by yourself, and I'm not allowed to do that. And this whole idea of feeling like you're taking up too much space, or finding yourself shrinking to hide. You're in the shadows. You're in the shadows. And so when you find yourself in those situations, it's noticing it's the first part. Then the next step is to slow down enough so that you can give yourself the perspective that God wants you to have, and ask what you need to do. Sometimes you just need to step out of the whirlwind of life and slow life down enough that you can listen to what God has to say. Sometimes it is step out of the muck and do the thing that God wants you to do with honor, not only for yourself, but the other person. The answer's within you. The answer's within you through Spirit. So there's been a massive shift. This is the overall message for the week. So there's been a massive shift in energies where many of us have found ourselves working on creative projects. So we've had a massive energy boost, and we found ourselves doing creative things, working on projects that we have been guided to work on. And at the same time, we also found ourselves facing fears, and some of these fears have been fears that had been pushed aside for years, but we found ourselves no longer being able to ignore them. New beginnings are on the horizon as the spiritual collective have completed a level of changes that shifted the overall energies of the earth once again. And I mean this in a big way, because yesterday some of us actually felt an insurgent boost in the energies. And for me, I was guided to actually sit on my grounding mat most of the day because Spirit knew that this was coming, and knew that the news of the death of my father would have possibly made it harder for me to feel that insurgent increase in energy. Probably would have knocked me right over. So I'm thankful that I was guided to take care of myself the way I was guided to take care of myself yesterday. For you, you looked within and followed Spirit as you found yourself noticing something that was missing. Something that you desired a deeper level understanding about. And many of you that received this insight took the time and created the space to get curious. This childlike curiosity is helping this new spiritual energy flow in quickly. It's helping us clear the pathways of old constructs that society has held for years, for thousands of years. And this loving energy is of purity and grace, and it's allowing us to accept the journey and love each other without conditions. And that's the key here. It's being able to love each other without conditions, without expectations of how one person needs to act versus another needs to act. It is a pure, unconditional love that is flowing in. And that is what we are feeling more and more each day. Are you ready and willing to receive what is flowing in for us? Message number 1. There is a potential physical transformation being offered to many. Where life, our actual quality of life, can be transformed. So it's a physical transformation that is being offered to a lot of us, to the world. And it is going to impact our quality of life in massive ways. It's going to transform our physical embodiment of the energy that we're using, physical reality that we are experiencing. We are being asked to look within and to feel the message that the body is trying to tell us. The body tells us lots of metaphysical situations that are happening. If you feel tension in your body, what have you been avoiding? What have you been resisting in some way? From a mindset perspective or from a spiritual perspective, is there something there? It very well could be just something physical, that you have not been taking care of yourself physically. But even that in itself, if you have been avoiding taking care of your physical self in ways that Spirit has been guiding you to do, then that is resistance as well. Ask Spirit what the message means for you. Don't avoid it any longer. How can you best honor yourself and other people by taking care of your physical self in this situation? If you find yourself clenching your hands or holding tension in your hands to the point where you're having sinus infections, what do you feel like you have to fight? What are you resisting that you feel like you have to be on the defensive all the time? If you don't know the metaphysical connection to something that you're feeling, reach out and ask me. You know, recently someone said, someone said that they couldn't feel their legs anymore. They felt stuck in life and they couldn't go on any longer. Their body was physically relaying the information that their mind and their soul, their mind and their spirit was already trying to tell them, that they were resisting something, resisting being able to see what they were being asked to do. And they felt stuck because somehow they either didn't want to see it or couldn't see it in some way. They didn't believe that it was possible for them. Or they didn't know if they had the tools to be able to do what they were being asked to do. And so they physically felt stuck. They physically felt like they couldn't move anymore. And they literally couldn't feel their legs anymore. They couldn't move their legs anymore. Okay, message number 2. Our quality of life changes when we honor not only ourselves, but others. When we lay down our swords and swap out our shields for a buckler, knowing we are standing in divine protection as we are guided every moment going forward. And I want to say this message surprised me. It surprised me in many ways because we all know the armor of God, the armor of God. But we are being asked by God to lay down our swords and swap out our shields for a buckler. What does that mean? When I asked this, I was shown that a buckler is a tiny little protection shield, but it's not a shield. It looks like a shield, but it's just a tiny little shield-like armor that goes on the forearm, but it's very personal. And whereas a shield is much bigger and can be used to actually hide behind. And the sword is used to lash out at others. So energetically, when we are in the shadows, we are using a sword to lash out at others when we feel that we have to lash out. We are using a shield to cower behind when we think we need protection. But when we are standing in our power, when we are standing in the narrow light, the narrow pathway, and using that light energy that God wants us to use, all we need is a buckler. All we need is a buckler. Because we will find the way to honor not only ourselves in that moment, but other people. We don't have control of how the other person reacts, so all we need is a buckler. Because in any moment, we can hear spirit, and spirit will say, leave. You are no longer in a safe situation for yourself. And it's not helping and honoring yourself or the other person by staying in this situation. All we need is a buckler. For personal protection, and but using it requires us to truly trust in God's divine protection and guidance. If we only go into a situation with a buckler, we need to know how to stand in His power. We need to know how to honor ourselves and other people in every situation. We need to know that we are trusting ourselves and loving ourselves through every situation as we trust and honor and follow the Spirit in those situations. Those that choose a buckler are walking the loving path God chose for all. Loving the journey, appreciating the journey, and trusting the guidance and protection divinely given when we stand in His loving power with grace and honor. When we stand in His loving power with grace and honor. Number 3, we are going through the valley of the shadow of death, and it may feel like a battle. God is asking you to face the shadows He is showing you so that you may receive the abundance waiting for you. Lots of times when we feel like we're getting beaten up, and I mean like our own thoughts and our own patterns and our own struggles in life are just wearing on us. It's because we haven't faced a shadow that God is trying to show us. We haven't faced the lesson that God is trying to lovingly show us. And we keep following that same karmic loop when we haven't figured out how to get off the roundabout. A karmic loop has nothing to do with the bad decisions that we've made in the past, other than the fact that we didn't learn what we were supposed to learn. We didn't do better than we could have done. We didn't forgive ourselves or forgive other people, and so we repeated past mistakes. If there were mistakes, it's all a journey. God says there's no right or wrong, there's no mistakes. There are no mistakes. There's just lessons and growth opportunities. And so every karmic loop we are on, whether it's a good or a bad karmic loop, it's because we haven't learned or we did learn. If it's a good karmic loop, we did learn and we keep following that same loop up. That's an ascension loop. The other one is a negative loop where we're going down. But at every moment, we have a choice to step off that loop and enter one that brings us going up. We can't do that unless we face the shadows. We can't do that unless we have enough love in our life. Enough love for ourselves to see things as they are with integrity, and have enough honor towards ourselves to do what we need to do in order to listen to Spirit and be the change that we need so that we can be the change the world needs. When we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we are divinely protected along the way. We don't need a sword. We don't need a shield. All we need is the buckler. When you're walking through the shadows, the shadow of death, the valley of the shadow of death, there's opportunities, many opportunities, when you have questions, to sit on the edge of the stream with God and talk to him about what messages he has for you, what he would like you to release, and allow it to float down that stream once and for all, cleansing you. God is asking you to face the shadows that he is showing you so that you can receive the abundance that's waiting for you. You know, I was shown without a shadow of doubt that financial abundance is flowing in to rebalance the world. New beginnings on a spiritual level have happened. And now the physical changes need to happen within ourselves, across the world, so that we can receive what God wants us to receive. So he's asking us to lay down our swords and to replace the shield with his buckler, and to stand in his power, face our own shadows, and cleanse ourselves as we release old constructs and constraints and patterns and beliefs that we had about ourselves and other societal situations. We're going to get there, whether the bulk of us do this or not. But the more of us that actually participate in doing this work, the faster it will get there. We don't have to have bloodshed. We don't have to have chaos, and we don't have to live in a society where we are controlled and manipulated to get a result. We don't have to live in a society where we have to control and manipulate others to get a result. I'm sending you all love and light along your journey. Thank you for joining me.